Every day, thousands of Comcast engineers and technologists, like Kunle, put people at the heart of everything they create.
In the average household, there are dozens of connected devices. Here in the Comcast family, we're building an integrated in-home Wi-Fi solution for millions of families like my own. It brings people together in meaningful ways.
Kunle and his team are building a Wi-Fi experience that connects 1 billion devices every year. Learn more about how Comcast is redefining the future of connectivity at comcastcorporation.com/Wi-Fi.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. It's also National Pi Day. Now, not the nerdy Pi Day, P-I, which is 3/14, of course, but the National Pie Council's National Pi Day. Now, our favorite pie depends on what day we're asked. Pecan, key lime, peanut butter. Still hard to beat a good apple pie. On this date in 1973, President Nixon addressed the nation to announce the Vietnam Peace Agreement that would be signed a few days later in Paris. Let's talk about birth rates versus death rates, big snow in a small town, and the best place in America to be a single-parent homeowner. I'm Mike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama. You probably heard Vice President J.D. Vance worry aloud during this past summer's campaign about falling birth rates. And you may have heard the predictions that deaths will surpass births in the U.S. by 2040. Well, AL.com's William Thorne reports that Alabama is ahead of that curve, and not in a way that makes economists optimistic. Since 2020, didn't everything seem to pivot one way or another that year? Alabama has had more residents die than be born. That reflects a trend nationally and in many nations. And to be clear, our population has continued to increase because of the migration of people into the state from other states and countries. But we're in a bit of a moment demographically, as we now, for the first time in modern history, are seeing a net loss in Alabama's birth-death numbers. If we ignore migration numbers, in 1990, Alabama gained more than 24,000 people through births minus deaths. Now, that's dwindled through the years, and during the first 3 years of this decade, we've lost more than 22,000 people. A higher death rate from the COVID pandemic almost certainly hastened our reaching net negative numbers, but we were on that road anyway. Birth numbers in Alabama haven't fallen off the table, but they are down compared to previous decades, even with a higher population, and they're no longer keeping pace with deaths. Because of migration, we're not dealing with a statewide population decline right now. Fallen population numbers would be a major concern because they can negatively affect both the supply and the demand side of an economy. With fewer workers, production declines, and with fewer consumers, demand for goods and services declines. Our workforce in Alabama, by a percentage of the population, is already lower than the nation's. Fewer births now will affect that number in coming years, obviously, and state officials worry that it could hurt Alabama's efforts to lure businesses. Naisha Black, the director of demographics at the University of Alabama's Center for Business and Economic Research, has been addressing the issues with falling birth rates. She said people want to blame our low workforce participation on people not wanting to work, but that a big factor is that we have an older population here, and many folks here are less likely to work during their retirement because of our low cost of living. So what's the message here? Here's an optional takeaway that we'll throw out there for young adults. Get off the anxiety-inducing social media sites, reintroduce yourself to your spouse, and make some youngins. Yesterday, we had the all-time record-breaking snow total of 7.5 inches for Mobile during Tuesday's snowfall. It was enough to collapse the roof of the Civic Center, which is undergoing a demolition anyway. There was more snow than that fallen in other places around the southern half of the state, reports AL.com weather reporter Lee Morgan. The National Weather Service compiled data from across the state. Its biggest report was a whopping 11 inches in Babby, Alabama. Babby is in Covington County, just east of Opp. And by the way, if your town is described as outside of op, then you're real folks. You can't fake that kind of down home. Other places with big snow reports from Tuesday: Turkey Branch in Baldwin County, 9.5 inches. Silver Hill in Baldwin County, 9 inches. And Damascus in Coffee County, 8.8 inches. According to the United Way of the National Capital Area, that's D.C. based, Birmingham ranked number 1 among the 50 largest U.S. cities as the best place to be a single-parent homeowner, reports AL.com's William Thornton. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a great idea for you to kick out the old man and move to Birmingham. It just means it might be an option. The study took into account childcare costs, public school ratings, property taxes, homeowner insurance rates, and unemployment rates. It considered life for single parents who are employed and make more than poverty level income, but still can't afford some basic necessities. The study found that Birmingham has the second lowest cost of babysitting, the third lowest unemployment rate, and the second lowest property tax rate. Birmingham was followed in the rankings by Salt Lake City, New Orleans, Indianapolis, and Tampa. Thank y'all so much for listening to us. We'll be back here in the morning. Till then, y'all come by anytime you want to and see what we're working on the internet at al.com.